Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful text, something that feels like a lost scripture for our modern times. It's called The Sermon of the Sovereign Self, and let me tell you, this isn't some gentle, comforting teaching. It's more like a spiritual call to arms, basically demanding that we stop looking for answers out there and start looking inward to find our own authority.
So right out of the gate, the sermon just shatters a huge expectation. This whole idea of the kingdom of heaven, right? It says, forget about some far-off golden city you get to after you die. The real kingdom is something you have to build, right here, right now. It's the incredibly hard work of taking all the messy, scattered, conflicting parts of yourself and integrating them into one powerful, whole soul.
So what does this inward journey actually ask of us? Well, the sermon doesn't exactly ease you into it. It kicks things off by taking one of the most famous ethical commands in all of history and flipping it completely on its head.
Now, this is a direct challenge, right? It's not saying you shouldn't love your neighbor, not at all. It's saying you can't, at least not in a real, authentic way, until you've first done the much harder work of confronting the part of yourself you'd much rather just ignore, your own shadow.
Okay, so what exactly is this shadow? Well, think of it as all the parts of ourselves we shove down into the basement. You know, our anger, our envy, our shame, all the stuff we don't like to admit is there. The sermon warns that just ignoring these things doesn't make them vanish. It just makes us a fragmented house, totally unstable and ready to collapse when the wind blows. Real strength, it argues, doesn't come from pretending the darkness isn't there, but from facing it and bringing it into the light.
And here, the message of self-sovereignty just becomes crystal clear. Stop looking for a shepherd to follow. Stop waiting for someone to lead you. The sermon warns that path only leads to weakness, to being a sheep. The real spiritual journey is to become your own mountain, your own solid, unshakable source of strength and truth.
But here's the thing. You don't just wake up one day and become a mountain. This journey starts from a place of incredible weight, a huge burden. And the sermon uses this first of three really powerful metaphors to describe it. One that echoes the philosopher Nietzsche, the spirit as a camel.
So the camel, it represents the spirit of pure duty. This is that stage in life where we just kneel down and we accept all the burdens that society, tradition, and our families put on our backs. We do what we're told, we follow the rules, we carry the weight. But this text says that kind of blind obedience has a huge cost. It completely drains our spirit and leaves our hearts totally barren and dry.
And the sermon gets really specific about these weights that are crushing the camel's spirit. It's the tyranny of thou shalt, all these rules handed down through generations. It's the constant pressure of social duty. And maybe most importantly, it's the soul-crushing feeling of obeying laws you had no part in creating and living a life that feels like you're just an actor in someone else's dream. But here's the good news. The spirit can't stay a camel forever. To find its own path, to create its own values, it has to go through this massive, dramatic transformation. It has to become a lion.
The lion is the great rebel. Its entire purpose is, in a way, destruction. Its sacred word is a powerful no. The lion's job is to fight that big dragon of thou shalt, to confront all those external pressures from society, and, in a really modern twist, to slay the endless, mind-numbing distraction of digital noise. All of this is to clear a space where it can finally be free.
But this rebellion isn't just about fighting things out in the world. It's a really painful internal journey. It means having the courage to confront your deepest sensitivity, what the text calls the anima. It means you have to be willing to go through the dark night of the soul, the nigredo, which is an old alchemical term for when your old identity completely dissolves into blackness. And finally, it means you have to shatter that public mask you wear for everyone else, the persona. You literally have to break down in order to break through.
This whole intense process, this journey of becoming a truly distinct self, has a name: individuation. And check out how this sermon completely reimagines the symbol of the cross here. It's not presented as some instrument of punishment. It's called a mandala, which is this kind of psychological map representing the integrated self, the exact point where your earthly horizontal life intersects with your highest vertical spiritual potential. Pretty cool, right? And this quote, this gets right to the heart of the lion's whole purpose. A truly authentic existence requires you to be the author of your own life. If you're just obeying rules that someone else made up, the sermon says you're not even really alive. You're just a ghost, haunting the ruins of a dream that wasn't even yours to begin with. But just destroying the old rules isn't the final goal. I mean, that's crucial, but it's not the end of the line. After the lion's sacred no has cleared away all the rubble, one last and even more profound transformation is needed. The spirit
has to become a child.
So think about it. The camel says, I must. The lion says, I will not. But the child says a simple, powerful, I am. It represents pure, unburdened creation, a totally new beginning. It's a self-propelling wheel, moving under its own power, creating its own values, free from all those old, tired frameworks of good and evil.
The child really embodies this spirit that is completely free from needing anyone else's approval. It doesn't ask for permission to be here. It couldn't care less about the likes of a digital crowd. It just creates, playfully, making a new beginning out of the ashes of the old. It forgets the battles of the past and can even find its own light in symbols of suffering, like a crown of thorns. It is the spirit, totally reborn into its own creative power.
And finally, after all this, the sermon hits you with its ultimate test. This entire journey, from the dutiful camel to the rebellious lion to the creative child, it all comes down to how you answer one single, soul-shaking question.
Now just let that sink in for a second. This is called the heaviest weight. Imagine that your entire life, every joy, every single mistake, every moment of pain, and every moment of triumph had to be relived exactly as it was over and over and over again, forever. Could you look at all of it, the good and the bad, and say, yes, I would do it all again? Now, to be clear, this isn't being presented as some literal theory of the universe. It's a thought experiment, a powerful psychological tool. It forces you to judge your life not based on some reward you might get in the future, but on its own value, right here, right now. The ability to honestly say yes to it all, that's presented as the highest possible affirmation of your own life.
And this just reveals the sermon's absolutely radical sense of personal responsibility. There is no future judgment day to wait for. Judgment is happening now. The judge is this very moment you're in, and the sentence you get is the choice you make within it.
The final instruction is a total reversal of what you might expect. Stop looking outside of yourself for saviors. Stop waiting for someone to come back and fix everything. That divine potential, the God within, it's already there, waiting in your interior mirror for you to finally turn your gaze inward and invite it out. And here it is, the sermon's final, most provocative statement. That old idea of an external God, a shepherd for the herd, is over. It's dead. But from those ashes, something new can rise. The divine, resurrected, not in the clouds, but inside the individual who has dared to walk this entire difficult path. And so, the sermon doesn't end with a neat little answer. It ends with a mission. It sends you out, alone, into your own deserts and up your own mountains. The ultimate goal isn't to find some sacred book to read or a perfect philosophy to follow. The goal is to live a life so authentic, so powerful, that your life itself becomes the manifesto you were looking for.